Hello, I'm Sarah Hanson. I'm one of the place-based coaches with the Pathways programme. I'm from Dumfries myself. I now live in Kirkcudbright and I've been self-employed for around 10 years. This video is on pricing because it's one of the most difficult topics I found that the people on the Pathways programme need to broach. Firstly, in having confidence in themselves as what to charge, but also being ready to share that information either on their website or through conversations with potential clients. Working with people on their confidence to share a price is super important for me because often, even in the Pathways group sessions, I've noticed other participants, other people on the scheme from Dumfries and Galloway and the Borders, really interested in the products or services that somebody is talking about, particularly when they see that passion and enthusiasm that this new business owner might have for what they're about to launch. I've been in real conversations where people say, I am exactly your ideal client. I really want to follow up this conversation with you. What are your rates or how much does this cost? And too often they've not had a response. So I want to help people with that conversation because I think it has many layers to it. But to keep it simple and in the interest of this video, I want to help people who have either products or services feel far more comfortable in having a figure or a position to share. So let's split that down into products and services. I sell services myself on behalf of the business that I run, and I've got a wide range of clients from large corporate businesses to small entrepreneurs and even not-for-profit charities. So for that reason, I tend to have a position that starts with a really important word, typically. Typically, our rates are based on an 8-hour day. And typically, we work with groups that comprise 8 to 12 individuals, and we prefer to run programs in person with people, at least at the start. What I find is that gives me a starting point to be able to have a conversation, which gives a headline number to one group to see what they think of that day rate. From there, I can then start negotiating with people on what needs to be adjusted for it to be affordable to them. And as I say that phrase, affordable, again, the word is really important for me when it comes to not-for-profits or for smaller charities. I know that I at least need to cover my costs to pay for the service that I provide, or that my colleagues, the other trainers, provide. But there needs to be a starting point, and that is where having some sort of record, a rate or a package is going to be so helpful for people who have services. So when I've been coaching people, I've been helping them think and get their ideas onto paper around what might that number look like and what's covered by that. For example, we live in a very rural area where often people need to travel to provide a service, or people are going to travel to receive your service. So is that included in your cost? Also, what extra time are you factoring in to the preparation, the administration, the communication, the design, the cleaning, the turnover that you provide in offering this service, particularly if it's something where you're going to somebody to either meet with them or you're going to host somebody in a workshop or a treatment room, and you have these hidden costs to cover as part of the service. There have been so many light bulb moments for people when they've realised they are not selling themselves, but they're selling the service that they have qualified in or they've become an expert in that will help other people. And I've noticed this has been a real challenge for people who've perhaps come from the care sector, perhaps worked in healthcare or providing services for other people. How can I charge for something that's going to be helpful when this is intended to be a service or a provision that's going to help people feel better? But in the coaching conversations I've had, I've reminded people that they've invested time, energy, money, studying into qualifying for these credentials, essentially, and factoring that into a price so that people can make a choice if they invest in this is paramount as well. So moving on to products. I've had the privilege of working with a lot of producers this time round, and some of my food producers are front of mind when I come to this topic. So the idea of selling products comes from a slightly different place. It's starting again with the raw ingredients, yes, but what is required in terms of your time, the energy costs, the incremental costs that contribute towards creating that product for your ideal customer. And one of the most useful conversations I've been having over the last 2 or 3 weeks with people around pricing this is taking a very visual approach, whether it's using the image of a cup of coffee and illustrating the component parts of covering and serving that cost to people. This is as relevant to somebody baking cakes and making desserts as it is to a craftsperson making a personalised item from fabrics or from wood. What are your invested costs in producing this item? To help build people's confidence in having a conversation on price, one of the realizations that my coaching clients have had is putting the numbers out there on their website or on social media avoids the awkwardness of that face-to-face conversation or not knowing how the number is going to land with someone. And I can think of a couple of examples where the pressure has been lifted once they've decided on the packages that they're going to offer, the numbers that they're going to publish, and the figures that they can stand beside and feel confident talking about. What it also helps is people making a decision before they come and broach that conversation with you. So when it comes to just 2 things on price, firstly, do your homework and please do not overlook the time and energy that you spend on preparing for selling either your services or your products. That needs to be factored in. Secondly, having a speech or a position prepared, whether you're publishing that on your website or you're writing it down to give a quote to somebody, if you know your figures, you're going to sound more comfortable and more confident broaching that part of the conversation.